Okay, today we're going to be looking at Module 4, Lesson 15, where we are now multiplying non-unit fractions by non-unit fractions. So remember that a non-unit fraction is when the numerator is greater than 1. So we'll do something like 2/3 times 3/4. The good thing is we're going to stick with the same pattern and strategies we've been using to multiply unit fractions, where we're thinking of 2/3 of 3/4. So if I think about my pan of brownies, and I think that I have 3/4 of a pan of brownies, I can start by drawing that scene. So if this is my pan, I can draw 3/4 of it. So I can say, okay, some brownies have been eaten, but I have 3/4 left. Now I want to find 2/3 of this 3/4. So we're going to label the bottom as 3/4, and we're going to think about splitting this 3/4 into thirds. So we're going to split it horizontally. So now I have it in thirds. Now this time I have 2 of the thirds that I want to focus on. So because I'm focusing on 2 of the thirds, that means I'm going to be shading in 2 rows. And I'm looking for those double shaded pieces, which is this section, because here's 1/3, and then here's the second third. So when I think about how many pieces of brownies is 2/3 of 3/4, I'm looking at how many pieces I just marked up. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 pieces out of a total of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I just marked up 6 out of 12 pieces of brownies. So I'm saying that 2/3 of 3/4 is equal to 6/12. Now I'm going to check that with the numerical expression. 2/3 of 3/4, we know that the of is the same thing as multiplication. So 2/3 times 3/4 is going to be my equation. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 4 is 12. So I end up with 6/12, which is the same answer. Now both of these can be simplified because they both have common factors. Factors that go into 6 include 2, 3, 6, and 1. Factors that go into 12 include 2, 3, 4, 6, 12. So right away I'm going to go with 6 because it's my biggest factor, and I can divide my numerator by 6 and my denominator by 6. So 6 divided by 6 is 1. 12 divided by 6 is 2, because 6/12 is the same thing as saying 1/2. If you picked a smaller factor to do your simplifying, you still could make it work. You might have to do multiple rounds of simplifying. Let's try another one with our model. So we've got 4/5 of 3/4. So we start off with the same idea. We've got 3/4 a pan of brownies. So I'm going to draw my 3/4 first. Now I'm finding 4/5 of this 3/4. So I'm going to split it into fifths. Two, 3, 4. Okay, there are my fifths, and I'm focusing on 4 of them. So the majority of them, because 4/5 is close to 1 whole. So I'm looking at 4/5 of these 3/4. So I'm going to shade in 4 of my rows. Remember, you don't want to do a solid shade because you still want to be able to see underneath it. You want to see where your colors are overlapping. That's why I like to use 2 different colors specifically too. So I'm looking at which pieces are doubly shaded, because that is the pieces that I'm taking away. So that's these ones right here, in this row, in this row, in this row, and then in this row. I'm not taking these leftover ones that are shaded red or that are just shaded blue, because those aren't the ones that are part of my 4/5 of 3/4. So if I look at how many are double A shaded, I have 3, 6, 9, 12. So I have 12 pieces out of a total of 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 12 20ths are what I have shaded. So if I split all of my brownies into equal pieces, I would be able to take 12 out of the 20 equal-sized pieces. Let's check this with a standard operation. So 4/5 of 3/4. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 4 is 20. So 12 20ths, 12 20ths. I can simplify these. I know because they're both even. So if I just divide by 2, I get 6/10. I can still simplify these because they're both even. So I get 3/5. So 12 20ths equals 3/5, or 4/5 of 3/4 is 3/5. Now for question number 2 in our homework books, you can use rectangular fraction models, or you can just use a numerical operation. Rectangular fraction models are a good solid way of showing your work, but we have been practicing with our numerical fraction model, so that's the way I'm going to show you right now. You can choose to do either or. So 3/7 times 2/9. So I know I can just go straight across for this. I'm going to write it a little bigger, because I'm finding 3/7 of 2/9. So we can multiply the numerators together to get 6, and the denominators together to get 63. Now, this is one of those examples of how simplifying before we multiplied might have been a stronger choice, because now I need to simplify 6 63s. And I don't know I don't think 6 goes into 63. So I have to think about their factors. So if I think about factors of 6, I have 2 and 3 and 6. So I'm going to think which one of these can go into 63. 2 can't, because 63 is odd. I think 3 can. Let me double check. 63 divided by 3. Yes. So it can go in 21 times. So that means a factor is 3. So I'm going to use 3 here. So I'm going to divide each of these by 3. And I'm going to get 6 divided by 3 is 2. 63 divided by 3 is 21. We can't do any more simplifying, so we can say that 3/7 times 2/9 is 2/21. And then let's do one word problem. Musa delivered 3/8 of the newspapers on his route in the first hour, and 4/5 of the rest in the second hour. What fraction of the newspapers did Musa deliver in the second hour? So our question is, what fraction did he deliver? He delivered 3/8 in the first hour and 4/5 of the rest in the second hour. That of the rest is in here all the time now. We have to be really careful. So let's draw our model. So 3/8 of the newspaper. I'm going to do eighths first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 out of the 8s was his first hour. So I'm going to mark off 3. 1, 2, 3. There's 3/8, and this was in his first hour. Now, what I have left over, which is the rest, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 5/8 in... Oh, no, not necessarily. but I have 5/8 left. 5/8 is the rest. And so I'm doing 4/5 of the rest. So I'm doing 4/5 of the rest, and we know the rest is 5/8, so it's 4/5 of 5/8. So if I was going to do this numerically, I know I can sub out that of and do 4/5 times 5/8. Because it's 4/5 of the rest of them. Now, I also can know from my tape diagramming that I have 5 pieces here. Right? Because I have 5/8. And they did 4/5 of the rest. So I think that it's going to be 4 out of these 5. I think that this is going to be the second hour. So I think the second is going to be 4 out of 8. But let's double check with our expression. So I'm doing 4/5 of 5/8. Well, I can multiply that straight across. 4 times 5 is 20. 5 times 8 is 40. And then I can simplify. I can actually divide it by 20. Because 20 divided by 20 is 1, and 40 divided by 20 is 2. So we get 1/2, which also equals 4/8. So I was right in my model prediction. But what fraction of the newspapers? Musa delivered 1/2 of the newspapers in that second hour. So when we're multiplying fractions by fractions, we can now either use our rectangular fraction model strategy or we can use just a numeric strategy. Either way, I do like us to use a tape diagram for our word problems because it does help us solve and see what the question is being asked. We can figure out the answer without even doing the heavy math. And we can then use the math to confirm what we predict the answer to be.